What's up, PlayStation Universe? Thanks for tuning in for another one of our E3 2016 reaction videos. I'm here with Batman, and he's going to tell me about what it's like to be Batman.
I am Batman, yeah. No.
We're going to talk about Batman VR, one of the surprise announcements of Sony's E3 2016 press conference. A new title in development exclusively for PlayStation VR by Rocksteady.
By Mark Hamill as the Joker.
That's true. That
was
true.
so cool.
I do remember that now. That was an awesome moment.
Yeah, we didn't know anything about the trailer. I didn't even know it was going to be here.
When you heard Mark Hamill's voice in that trailer, did you immediately know like that's what we were getting into? When you heard the,
It
was a few seconds for me. Like I didn't capture it immediately, but then it was simultaneous. Saw the cape, saw just flashing over kind of the Batman armor, and then
I knew it was gonna. I figured that's what it was, probably like pretty much right away, but I didn't accept that that's what it was going to be because it was like they're not doing this, no way. But then when it was Rocksteady at the end, it was like, okay, this is happening.
It is, yeah, it is happening.
And then it was playable right after the conference.
Yeah, so we went up to play some VR games right after the conference. One of those was, of course, Batman VR. We waited in a half-hour line for it. They did, right?
They had 4 stations at the top of the stairs, and it was just packed. But
so yeah, we finally got through the end of the line. I got to watch you play it, and real quick before you dive into the actual impressions of it, I just gotta say, the joy on your face at key moments of that demo was such that both myself and the Rocksteady guy watching you were just like, look at this guy, look at this guy, and you could hear us like laughing and chuckling, but it was totally like well-meaning and good-hearted because it would just be like. You just your mouth underneath the goggles. But all right, so what was it like? What did you play? What did it feel like?
Well, there were 2 different things you could do. I did one of them. I only had time to try out one. You could do it said be the Batman,
right,
as one of the things.
So which one are you gonna choose? Right?
Yeah, right. The other one was that was more like just a general. That's more of a tech demo type of thing, general thing where it's like you are there's that one, and then there was another one that was detective mode where you like solve a crime. So the first one, the one that I did was be the Batman. You are standing in Wayne Manor right next to the piano, and then all of a sudden Alfred walks over to you and starts talking to you about like what's going on and different things. And after that, for a little bit, then he hands you a key, and you grab the key with you both move controllers in your hands.
That's right.
One
You had
for
2
each
move
hand.
controllers.
So both hands are available and visible in the game. They're cut off at the wrist, like pretty much everything that we've seen so far.
That does stuff, right?
So you grab the key, you put the key in the piano, you turn the key, and then you grab the lid of the piano, open up the keys on there, and then you just. I thought it was going to be like some random actual sequence on the piano, but it's just like, no, since you are Batman, all you have to do is press whatever you want to press, and then it opens the floor beneath you just opens, and then you get lowered down into.
Oh, so it really wouldn't have mattered what piano keys you press.
No,
I was curious because I didn't see any message that told you press this. It was just. That's your signal.
Yeah, you put whatever it is. That was something that was so brilliant that they did.
Yeah, that's a very nice touch.
You're Batman, so of course you know what it is. You don't need to be told.
Yeah, very true.
So it was like that was just a really nice. They did that really well.
Cool.
First thing, you get lowered down on this platform, so you don't move around at all. You're totally standing, totally static. But as soon as it started dropping, it felt like I was literally in an elevator, and I knew I wasn't. And it like my stomach just kind of like lurched up when it started lowering, and it was crazy. On the video, when you're watching other people playing it, it doesn't look like it's that impressive, or it feels like you're just kind of in a tube, and then it looks like you're in a fairly closed tube, like close proximity, and then this like thing comes towards you and it opens up and the suit's in there. But when you're in there, it looks like the walls are like way out here.
Really? Okay.
Like it looks like they would be like this close to you, kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say on the TV, video, it felt like a really.
But then when you're when you're in there, the walls are like they're way out of arm's reach, and they go back really far. There's like these kind of networking cables that are overlaying this like big open area.
So you got a sense of the cave being cavernous.
And then the thing that the Batsuit came in, it wasn't like down here what it looked like in the TV. It was like up here, and you're like looking up at it, and it was like this really big imposing capsule. It was really cool. And you reached out, you grabbed the symbol on the suit, and then you just put it to your chest, and then you were wearing the suit. Then these 2 things rose out of the ground with these that had the gauntlets in them, and they were just like you grabbed these 2 levers and you twisted, and then you pulled them out, and then you put your hands in, and then you had the gauntlets on. And then the cowl came out and moved, and then you reached up, grabbed it, and you could turn around, look at it, and then you just put it on your head, and then a screen came out, and you could see yourself as Batman in control of the arms.
That was the trick that really sealed the deal on the illusion, even for me just watching you and trying to comprehend the things that you were seeing, because it's like no other VR game has really reflected that, where you see the head that isn't truly you, but you are Batman, and so like it breaks it seals that illusion, because the movements that you were doing with your arms, I noticed, were being reflected in the mirror.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, it was so great. It was so great.
Yeah.
You did some batarang throwing as well, right?
Yeah, there was a couple other things that you did after you got all suited up. There was a couple things that, like, automated things that came moving things out towards you, and one of them was the grappling hook. You grab that off of there, and then you can press the trigger and it'll fire. So we don't really know what capability that's going to have or what role it's going to play later on. But they just had like a hook lower down, and you had like a little circle, and you had to aim and shoot through the hook.
Yeah.
And once that was done, then you take it, and then you look down at your hip, and you would holster it.
Okay.
And then you would put it there, and then you come back, and then there was another thing that was like a... I'm trying to remember what it was. If it was just like a taser type of thing, there was a different thing.
Sure, yeah.
That you grab with your left hand, you use that, and then you holster that on the other side, and then the batarangs come rising up, and then you grab the batarang, and then you throw it, and it's automated, like an aim assist on there, so it's like you don't really have to aim when you're throwing it for this demo. And there's these 3 moving targets, and then there would be more that would spawn, like kind of where your belt is, and then you would look down and grab another one, you'd throw it, and grab another one, you'd throw the third one, and then that would progress you to the next part of the area, which made the elevator lower again, and that it lowered and lowered and lowered, and you're looking around, and there were some bats that started hanging, and like you're getting deeper into the cave, and you could see, and then it just opened into this huge, like, it was just massive, like, cave,
like a cavernous.
Yeah, it didn't look like that on the TV at all either for that, but it was just like, this was like hundreds and hundreds of feet away was like where the walls were, and then the waterfalls coming down, and you're looking, and you're like 1,000 feet up from the ground, from like the first level of ground you could see, and then there were the big pitfalls, and you're looking, and you can see everything around you, and the giant penny, and then like the T-Rex that you see in like the animated series and in the comics, or like mementos he's gathered. So this is established Batman. This is where this is setting off.
We're looking at actual events that have happened.
Yeah.
You know, the scale of the cave really strikes me, because that's the thing that I think, even more than just how cool it is to be Batman or fly around an Valkyrie and things like that, it's like the fact that they can convey these massive spaces to you in true, the feeling that you're there, and can appreciate the fact that you're a tiny thing in a much greater perspective. That's when, every time that happens in any of the experiences I have, like, that's when I'm just truly astonished, and I feel like I'm no longer where I thought I was.
And it was insane, and that was also part of, you could feel how open it was. Like, you were still in the elevator technically, so there was a glass and stuff, but there were a few times where I had to catch myself, because it felt like I was gonna fall over, and it was just like I was standing in an elevator, because I was just expecting it to keep lowering, and then I think it just lowered to it lowered down to a console that like came towards you, and it was like the bad computer that was set up there.
Okay. And then
there were some like cool mementos that were sitting on it. I was trying to pick up a Joker card that was on there, and I couldn't pick it up yet. And the guy came over, and he was like, "Oh, you'll pick that up in the final game."
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, so it was treated so well.
It sounds like what separates that from other VR experiences too. Obviously, the scale is important, but they're really, seems like Rocksteady really focused on clever game development details, like the fact that because you're Batman, any piano sequence will get you in. It's whatever you decide to be. You're Bruce Wayne.
You're not playing as Batman. They're really making it be that you are Batman. So that's and then that. The other one, and that was pretty much the rest of that, and that was the only one that I played, but the other one was a detective mode where you're in an alleyway, and it's actually like Nightwing is dead. Like, he's there, and he's got like...
And this is like a second scenario, presumably like the second level of Batman VR, if you can think of it that way.
Yeah, the one what was available there, anyway. So it was like he was dead, and you had to recreate the crime scene using like the lenses in your cowl and all that stuff, and analyzing the scene, what happened, seeing how he had like 3 different broken bones, and you had to figure out how that happened based on the evidence you could find at the location. And then I was watching other people doing it where they were able to do like a speed up and rewind of like, they had like the silhouettes of the people that were there, how it happened, and like you could see that somebody came up behind him and like attacked him, and then there was another person like a little later, if it took a different position, you'd see somebody was watching this happen, and then they got spotted by whoever attacked Nightwing and turned and ran, and different things like that. So it was just like there was that's what the other thing was, the other gun that was on your hip that I put. It was a scanner.
Oh,
like
yeah,
an
yeah,
environment
sure.
scanner. So
right.
That's what that tool is for. Seeing people use that. So I can't speak too much on that because I didn't.
Yeah,
like, personally, but
right.
It was exploring the detective aspect of Batman.
And unfortunately, Rocksteady didn't give us much indication of how representative those sequences are of the final game and how many of those scenarios you get to play. I think it's pretty clear that it will probably be a scenario-based experience where you can play through them in sequence, and it probably follows and we can maybe safely assume that it follows some kind of story that results of Nightwing's death, and then it might take you to several scenarios as you continue to pursue that. But it just makes me wonder because, we didn't see combat portrayed in any major way.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I feel like I overheard someone at Rockstar talking about how, certainly it's Batman. You can expect to have some kind of combat experience. It's just we don't know what that will look like.
Yeah.
And especially in first person in VR, it's one of these untested landscapes where nobody really knows what it's going to look like.
Yeah, the only thing that really I could imagine doing that from that perspective would be to have like somebody coming at you and then just being able to block.
Yeah,
but you don't map the forearms or anything. It's just from the wrist.
Right.
So it's just a whole different type of challenge that I'm sure that they've put a lot of effort into thinking about.
Yeah. I mean, perhaps, we have seen games that take the camera out of the first person perspective and actually allow you to view from like more of a typical camera angle. So maybe for a combat sequence, it might.
That would break that way too much.
It would no longer
wreck
be
the
you
illusion completely. Yeah, that would go. From what that was, that would just completely go against everything they set up in that established part. So
whatever angle Rocksteady takes with it, I think we can safely assume that they're going to do justice to the franchise because they've done nothing but.
And this was something that when I was talking to one of the developers there, he did say that I asked him how long they'd been working on this for, and first he said a while, and then I said, "Was this after Arkham Knight or was this during?" And he said, "No, this was after Arkham Knight."
Yeah,
so
this virtually started.
So once Arkham Knight was done, this was as far as we know, this was their sole focus.
Yeah, as far as we know.
Forward. Mm-hmm. And it really does meet the fidelity of the past, like the Arkham games, more or less. At least at this point.
I mean, everything we saw of it was highly polished, and obviously it's the most intense and the best VR experience you've had.
Yeah, so. Easily, and it's just mainly it's the story, how it's going to go, and that's the one thing too. Since you're Batman, you are Batman. Are they going to have Kevin Conroy come back and talk for you or anything like that? Is it going to be totally mute? I would think that would lean more to that way. Was Mark Hamill in just to do a line for the trailer?
Well, they could use
it's more of a story.
That's tough.
But Alfred is in there, and there is voice acting done in what we saw so far. Right. So how deep is the story? Is it just like isolated interactions just as a experience?
You need the PlayStation camera to use PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
And so, built-in microphone. You have the ability to use voice commands.
That's true if you were the one to do it. Huh. Yeah.
Regardless, it seemed like a great time. I'm actually kind of jealous I didn't get to play it myself.
Yeah, it was like after it was done, it was just unbelievable, and it was like one of the only.
You were like dazed and confused for like 10 minutes. I was like, "Well, let's go get some coffee," and you're like,
"It was just so crazy." Really. So
great.
I'm gonna just start repeating myself about how amazing it was.
No, but that's number one for your day one PlayStation VR. That's what you're going on PlayStation Store to be able to play the rest of it.
Yeah,
download
pretty
immediately.
much.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Batman VR lived up to the hype. Batman Arkham VR, I should say, lived up to the hype that was generated by its
only like the preceding half hour.
Yeah. So it's everything that we'll hoped it would be so far.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to seeing what comes in the final version when PlayStation VR hits retail shelves in October. So thanks for watching this E3 2016 reactions video. Stay tuned for more of our impressions of what we see and play at E3. And thanks for watching. Check out everything that we're doing this week on both the website and Twitter and Facebook. Cheers.